Good morning.
Welcome to all of you. Thank you very much. Meeting us almost overdue. Very happy to go back on the go. How long were you staying and sitting there?
So you can take your time. We'll adjust.
I see.
You can take your time. We'll adjust.
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, I have so much to talk to him that perhaps we need more than one thing.
Well, I'm delighted that you had a chance to meet. I've come to the subcontinent at this time, largely because of my concerns about the culture. I thought that by coming as I Kashmir, I could get some insights into the problem I want to be very useful. So in addition to arguing and visiting one of the camps, we want some of the children in Iraq represented some of the other political leaders. But I would be interested in your general assessment of the situation in the valley. What do you think has led to the current crisis?
This situation, I would have gone refugees Sure. A little bit of background. See, it has two basic considerations. One is its position as a matter of justice, where they fight for determination of human rights, and all that goes together in one category. And the other is the geopolitical considerations, the United States, Russia, particularly the regions going to be affected by it. And what I want to say is not merely the question of the territory of countries, whole situation is affected by it. So I personally really do not know much of what the institutions are and the different public stuff. But from my point of view, settlement is very, very essential. Not merely because of the population, but because of the sense. And it's also very anytime, anywhere. So it was very essential to settle this. Now, how to settle this is one aspect, and what is actually happening in the second part of justice and assessing the situation. Just to in order to settle the system, I might be really wanting mission, something to settle my system, and that is the type of technical. In order to settle this dispute, I think it would be absolutely essential to solve listening to the part that will not receive the effective and it is there really like the government are long-term, both of them have tried for a very long time now, over 40 years. They're going through so-called wars, crisis to war, and many people that have failed ever failed. The only answer would be to bring up the people and help to sustain it. I've been suggesting from time to time that in order to save Indian integrity and Pakistan at the same time. Because both of them must stake their integrity on the Kashmir issue. They got to such an extent but certainly if India has to be saved from it and Pakistan has also to be saved, then this dispute must be resolved. Although I am one of the people who generally blame for hardline with regard to India and Pakistan, but I also tell you that I have sincerely wished that India should stay strong and so should Pakistan. And I have never been born in disintegration of it. All the same, it depends on the Indian entity. That's where I always it depends on the Indian entity. The bigger country. But being bigger does not mean that we should be unjust and unjust. We should be smaller. And unfortunately, Americans and the United States perhaps finding a weakness to support the cause of weak people of weak countries, whereas we, the weak people or the weak countries, the smaller countries, we have always thought that America would perhaps come to our support and was not fight against other countries, but to maintain our own integrity. But here, somehow the others have been compromises which the man like me, having been in politics for 40 years, I don't understand really what those compromises are, why they are so. However, that is precisely what is going on today. I feel that we will have to find a way out to accept the will of the people of Kashmir, and then of course certainly it will be easier for us.
Well, I gather, Mr. President, you would favor a plebiscite as the mechanism for determining the will of the
There can be
Kashmiri
other
people.
ways also. For example, I was suggesting, but I did not complete my. I was suggesting from time to time that the recognized leadership on both sides of the ceasefire line. This should allow to be and again on a neutral ground, maybe in UK or the US or somewhere else, where they could sit together and find a way out, if they can find a way out. I think if there will be good cooperation from both sides, India and Pakistan, and these people are allowed to meet and sit down and discuss, I think they can be found out.
Which people would you mean?
The recognized leadership on both sides of the ceasefire.
Well, here the recognized leadership is fairly easy to identify in as much as you have had elections, and presumably it's the people who have been elected that constitute the recognized leadership. In the case of J&K in India, Kashmir, whom do you consider to be the recognized leadership?
This is one of this, the word recognized leadership does not apply strictly to the elected people. Sometimes very important people don't get elected, but that doesn't mean that they are not recognized leadership.
Right.
So here in Azad Kashmir, I would include almost all recognized leadership, whether they have been elected or not elected. Similarly, on the other side, the people en bloc rejected the elections in Kashmir, and they have formed an alliance which includes almost the entire recognized leadership in Kashmir.
Well, which alliance is that?
The alliance on the other side.
Well, does it have a name?
Yes, it is a name. It is Kashmir. How would you translate it? The Liberation Movement for Freedom of Kashmir.
And is this a coalition of the various militant groups?
No, it's purely political. But they have some militant groups attached to these organizations. It doesn't include KLF. The alliance does not include so-called KLF on the other side. But here, we also have an alliance which includes KLF.
Well, as part, do you think there is any possibility in the short term that India could be persuaded to agree to a plebiscite?
Well, I think if the situation was, they so highly politicized the situation on both sides that the facts of the matter, you see, they have gone into oblivion. And
what is this?
apple juice.
Apple juice.
Mango shake.
Pardon?
Mango shake.
Is this just mango or is that milk?
Mango and milk. Mango with and sugar.
I heard about Kashmiri apples.
Yes, this is almost very close to it.
Right.
It's not exactly the same quality, but it's very close to it.
Okay.
It's also grown here. So I think if sincere, honest efforts were made, and India was made to realize the danger which is brewing up, it's not merely Kashmir now, it's the entire region which is going to be affected.
Well, Mr. President, assuming India could be persuaded
Yes.
to have a plebiscite, in your view, should that plebiscite be held in both Indian Kashmir and Pakistani Kashmir, or only in Indian Kashmir?
So far, we have stuck to the position that the website should be held in the entire Jammu and Kashmir state, it is 4,000 square miles, including Azad, Kashmir, northern area, and the other 76 miles. That has been our recognized position so far.
Now, is it your position that if a plebiscite is held, the choice should be limited to accession to either India or Pakistan, or do you think that people should be given the option of voting for independence as well?
Well, again, if we are not to make a departure from our original positions with the division, starting from the division of the subcontinent and the unsafe resolutions, then perhaps we have to stick to the accession to India and Pakistan, and that has been the right granted to almost all millions of citizens on the subcontinent.
Well,
But then, but then if in the practical analysis of the pragmatic analysis of the situation, if we infer that the parties concerned, I mean, if they agree that there should be a third option, also that can also be considered.
but you're a Kashmiri.
Yes, of course.
I mean, would you personally favor providing the third option in a plebiscite
There are two things.
if India and Pakistan were willing to accept it?
There
or
are
do you
two
think-
things which I consider. One is that as a Kashmiri, and if I am affected by the Kashmiri nationalism, that you have nationalism everywhere on the subcontinent, well then I might opt for an independent Kashmiri separate entity. But when I look at it from the point of view that this issue does not really concern the Kashmiris, that it is a very much concerned resolution of the issue of the irritants between the two countries, India and Pakistan, then the situation becomes slightly different. If we carve out a third provision of independent Kashmir, then the position between India and Pakistan as it is today, it is not going to be pacified, it is going to stay where it is. That means, despite our carving out that position, the relationship between India and Pakistan will continue to remain strained as it is, and then it's absolutely of no use.
You mean if Kashmir would have become independent?
Yes, it will not resolve the issues between India and Pakistan.
Why not?
The irritant will continue to be there because the position of Kashmir is such that it is not going to resolve the issue unless it exceeds to India or to Pakistan.
Well, I'm asking, I understand that's your view, but I'm asking why.
Well, because of its economy and geography, geography, everything, you see, will have to be settled again, all over again.
I haven't been to the valley.
There's yet another point.
Yeah.
There's yet another point. One is this. The other is that for India, if I was to put myself into their position, I feel that it is easier for India to accept accession of the Jammu and Kashmir state to either of the two countries than to accept an independent state. For them it will be. For Pakistan it might be, to begin with, might be acceptable to some extent. But for India it will not be acceptable. Because that will set afoot the movement from.
Actually, that's a very interesting point. I will test it out on the Indians when I go there tomorrow. But I think it's actually quite acceptable. Of course, they don't want to plebiscite anything. But presumably, if Kashmir acceded to Pakistan, it would be easier for India to respond to separatist movements and other
parts of India
That's right.
that pointed to this as a precedent by saying
That's right.
this was the result of the partition. But I've read some reports in the press that there seems to be considerable support in the Valley for independence, as distinguished from accession to Pakistan. And the JKLF, which seems to be one of the more significant of the many militant organizations, has called for independence. I assume you have a lot of contact with people in the Valley. What's your own judgment about the extent to which, if people there were given a choice between acceding to Pakistan or becoming independent or remaining with India, they would choose independence?
You see, at the moment, the position is not very serious from that point of view. See, the independence movement is not very strong at the moment, because the political aspect is still ruling the situation. But unfortunately, if the militants takes over the political situation, then independence will have to be. We perhaps will not be able to do anything to stop it. But in that case, Azad Kashmir will not be affected. Azad Kashmir will stay out. This is not going to be part of the independence movement.
Well, but if there were a plebiscite in which independence was an option and the majority voted for independence, even though a majority in Azad Kashmir voted for Pakistan, would Azad Kashmir under those circumstances become part of an independent Kashmir, or would it exceed separately from Pakistan?
I think this is again a very difficult position. People in Azad Kashmir would not agree to such suggestion. People in northern areas would not agree. I would say almost 1/3 of the population, and even the people in Jammu, the Muslim, the Hindu majority, will also not agree to it. Practically, it will be impossible to follow the position. Practically, it is only one.
But I'm sure the people. Well, if you say the people in Azad Kashmir would not agree to independence,
Yes.
the people in Jammu and presumably Ladakh would not agree to
Yes.
accession to Pakistan.
Yes, that's right.
So if the
They also like to be independent in that case.
no, but if the people in Azad Kashmir can reject the vote for independence, why shouldn't the people in Jammu and Ladakh be able to reject the vote for accession to Pakistan?
Yes, because we have been so far working on accepted positions, internationally accepted positions of accession to India or Pakistan. This would be a totally third position, in which it will depend on the people who are concerned whether to agree to it or not agree to it. But in this case, it is the answer to resolutions in the United Nations which is being committed, and India and Pakistan have been a party to those agreements.
Well, I gather your view is that the predominant sentiment in the Valley is for accession to Pakistan rather than for independence.
That's right.
But there is some sentiment for
Yes,
independence.
that is, yes.
Is there any sentiment for independence in Azad Kashmir, or is it non-existent?
Well, it is existing, but it is absolutely insignificant. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. Only for the sake of propaganda, practically it has no impact on others.
Now, if it's not possible to persuade India in the short run to agree to a plebiscite, and I have to say in all candor, that doesn't appear very likely.
Yes.
But if, in any case, it should turn out that India is not willing to agree at the present time to a plebiscite, do you think it would serve a useful purpose in terms of normalizing the situation in the Valley and perhaps creating conditions for an eventual expression of self-determination by the people, for elections to be held in J&K, for a new state government, if India could be persuaded not only to agree to such elections, but to hold them under circumstances in which people could have confidence that they would be truly free and fair, and that the will of the people would be respected.
Would this election be a substitute for plebiscite?
Oh, it would presumably be an election to restore state government in Jammu and
Yeah,
Kashmir.
that the people will not accept. People will lay down their lives like businesses on us. And men, women, children fighting and the way they've been butchered mercilessly and women desecrated. I really don't think that people of Kashmir will prepare to even hear a thing like this.
So, Mr. President, let me ask you, as I see lots of people scribbling around here and cameras, is the press here for this meeting?
No, press. These are our own people.
This is... Yeah,
Yes, but this has nothing to do with the press.
Right. This is, we're just talking about this off the record.
That's it.
He's from the press.
Who is the press?
Associate press of Pakistan.
थोड़ा अलग कर लेते हैं सर काफी
No, I didn't know that. We were not talking to press in any case. No. आप भी चला please. Nothing to do with the press.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the purpose would be of meeting between the leaders from the two sides. If you say that what you're implying, if you say that elections to a state government would never be accepted, what you seem to be saying is the only thing that's accepted is a plebiscite.
Yes.
And there's
Well, that is the position at the moment. And if there has to be a change, if any other proposition has to be considered, that should be considered by these people meeting processes.
Well, let me try out a hypothesis.
Yes, please.
I assume you've been following with considerable interest the developments that have been taking place in Lithuania.
Yes.
While there are obviously many differences between the situation in
Yes.
Kashmir and Lithuania, there are perhaps certain similarities.
Yes.
Now, I am struck by the fact that the Lithuanian people and the movement for an independent Lithuania has taken a great leap forward by virtue of the first truly free and fair elections ever held in Lithuania, in which it was possible for those Lithuanians who believe Lithuania should be independent not only to get elected to the Lithuanian parliament, but to form the government of the Lithuanian Republic, which put them in a much stronger position vis-a-vis Moscow